Good evening, everybody. We are war. We are resilient. Mike here from Hellfish Haven. Travis tonight from Awesome Mike Radio is on mission, but you can catch him at 8 p.m. on Oscar Mike Radio, streaming on all podcast platforms from Spotify to Facebook Live, YouTube, and beyond. Tonight, I am here with Steve from BodyCheckProject.com, former master at arms with the Navy. Steve, good evening. How are you?
Good. Appreciate you having me on there, Mike.
Not a problem. We met in another chat. Was it the military retirement podcast?
Correct.
Yeah, so we were. They do like a Sunday chat about military retirement ongoings, and we were able to chat there and discuss a few things, and able to show a couple images, and Steve and I discussed back and forth. And Steve started Buddy Check Project. How long has this endeavor been going for you?
This 9-headed beast has been going for about, I'm probably working 3 months now.
Gotcha. And what has been your biggest frustrations with it, and what's been the biggest help so far you've seen?
To be honest, so I started with an idea.
Yep.
And that idea grew legs, and then it started running. And if you've ever dealt with project management, I live in the world of scope creep. So every time I get to a point where I think, well, maybe this is a good place to stop. Wait, I should do this, or I should do that. And then I just keep adding to it. So really my frustrations right now is some of the site is lacking a little bit because I keep forging forward and adding more items. Yeah, I mean, that I can see what I want it to look like, but just one person building, and we'll see where we can get it to. But the idea is to provide kind of a centralized area for links for veterans, based off of my own need to figure out how the hell to get certain services and stuff. And listening to some of the nonprofits that have come on board, several of the other podcasts, like the retirement podcast, and a couple others that I watch, and consistently hearing issues about whether it be the transition assistance programs. People just aren't getting the information they need, or they get through it and it's like a checkoff item, or the nonprofits talking about how they're getting started, but they don't know how to get their names out there. Vet-owned businesses that are very small, home-based on the kitchen table, and they advertise on Facebook, and how many people actually see them. So I got this wild hair to start putting together just kind of a centralized list of resources, and it's grown from there.
Yep. So in Mass, we have the Greater Boston Veterans Collaborative. If you get a chance, they're at collaborate.vet. And they have got a lot of resources listed there, broken down in a section, financial literacy, legal, housing, mental health, VA issues. And it is, like you said, when you put this together and you start building, the resource for folks, there's so much out there, but there isn't any place where you can go and just have it make sense.
Yep.
Because, everything, is independent, and a lot of organizations, they don't want to work with other organizations because they feel like, since we're all, vying for the same, people and the same, funds, they feel like we're, taking money out of their pocket if they're going to work with us.
Yeah. And I'm not a nonprofit. It's just me. The idea is to maybe become a nonprofit at some point
Mhm.
in time. But it's just me and two cats. In fact, yeah, here's one of my partners.
Excellent.
A lot of work, so I don't know if they're getting paid. They get fed, so I guess that's good enough.
I think
Um,
you can write that off.
but yeah, my idea is collaboration, not reinventing the wheel. Not collaboration, not contention. Um, and so I reach out, and I haven't had a negative word so far from anybody I've reached out to say, hey, I'm putting your information up on my site, and it's not like I'm charging for advertisement or anything like that. I've got some ideas on, um, throwing out uh, on social media like Instagram and stuff like that, just posts, with featured nonprofits or
Mhm.
featured associations or, stuff like that in a rotating deal so, they can get some sort of visibility. And, if I get to a point where some, people want to sponsor to, be part of that, then we can look at it. I'm not going to go and just get somebody sponsoring that just has a business or a nonprofit. It has to be vet related. It has to be vet run and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, the purpose on that is, like I say, is to collaborate. And like when you say all the resources that are out there, that um, I try and list like state lists of veteran based businesses, but you just never know how many of those are actually operational or not operational.
And Travis has joined us. Travis from Oscar Mike Radio.
Whew, on the move.
You got-
What do you, Mike? How are you doing?
Doing well. We got Steve here from BuddyCheckProject.com. He's been working on setting up a platform online and out there in Washington to be able to bring veterans together, bring resources together, and have a place where veterans can land online and be able to get the resources, because he's seen a lot what we've seen, where the transition process and the tap process has become a check the box, and you basically sit through the briefings because we have to, and you're not actually learning
Sure.
the essential tools and stuff to make your transition one, easier, and two, successful.
Well, Steve, nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you, Travis. I think I reached out to you early on to host your podcast up on my site as well.
Okay, we'll revisit that. It's just been a full throttle kind of year.
Absolutely. I saw your Thanksgiving post. You're here, there, and everywhere.
So, while we're on this, maybe Steve, you can help me out with something. One of the things that, I was online, of course, it's this guy, this influencer, talking about how, he's tired of seeing veterans be victims and need check-ins and feelings and all this stuff. He's like, veterans should, act like they're veterans and like they're, badass warriors instead of all this. And I'm like, I'm like, I used to be quiet about this, but I'm not anymore, because I'm like, you finally get a guy to ask for help, and then he hears that and he goes right back into his shell. And I'm just curious, do you ever run into that out in the with your work? Because it could explain a lot why we have some of the challenges we do.
To be honest, I haven't. But then right now I'm a little underemployed, to be honest. So I work part time doing evening security. Gives me way more time on my hands than I need. But I've worked for the places that I've worked at. I did cybersecurity with a company that contracted with a regional utility out here in Washington for about 9 years, and didn't really in my work. I didn't necessarily see that. I see it online a little bit more, but I don't I don't get online that much. I mean, I do, but I don't. And when I see some of the stuff that's just going off the rails, I usually click away from that because I'm not interested in seeing it. But I also live in a set of states that are just not vet friendly anymore. California, Oregon, Washington. I live in Washington, southwest Washington. I'm across the river from Portland, and I mean it's a bit of a dumpster
I don't
fire.
know if I recognize Oregon or Washington anymore as states of the union. I mean, what's going on out there?
That's a whole other podcast, dude. Yeah, our new governor, Oregon's new governor, it's not really the new governors as much as it's a one-up process. It seems like California does something, so Washington's got to do it and do it better. Then Oregon's got to be, oh no, you can't be better than us, and so Oregon does it. And so they take bad ideas and they just compound them. Oregon and Washington have just both passed the highest single tax increases across the board for both states in the last 50 plus years. Businesses are leaving. I've heard. I mean, it's hearsay. Everything's hearsay because you don't know what to believe online anymore. But I've heard that in Washington, they're losing one family every 2 hours that are leaving the state. And they're still $8 million short from what they wanted to be at. So the possibility is we're looking for more tax increases. One of the senators or congressmen out here has proposed, and I think it has passed, a high earner income tax. We don't have income tax in this state, but they're proposing and possibly passed a high earner income tax, which would affect the employer, not the employee. Because if it was the employee, then it would be an income tax. But it's going to affect employers that have anybody that's working that's earning over $100,000 a year, which in this area is almost median income. And so Microsoft has already said that if this stuff comes into effect, they're going to start pulling jobs. Boeing has already started pulling jobs. Amazon has already moved headquarters. And so all these larger companies that the state is depending on for this income is already starting to cross borders. And once that happens, the taxes have to come down to us, mid to lower income, because that's how they're going to make their money. And we have no idea. So
veterans advocacy or taking care of veterans must be a low priority.
It is and it's not. It's not necessarily always the state. Like for my region, we have issues with VSOs, for instance. I'm a life member with the VFW, and we had a VSO with our VFW who ended up getting sick several months ago and had to drop out. So the VFW didn't have VSO at the time. We had one out of Veterans Assistance Center. The Vancouver Veterans Assistance Center had one, but getting in contact with her was a nightmare at best. And then the American Legion in our area was decertified apparently at some point in time, and so they haven't had VSOs for the last few years. And you can't talk to a VSO out of area because it's out of area, and they already have a list a mile long of people that they're dealing with. So people down here are either, scrambling to figure out how to work on their benefits or going through the cutthroat companies. I mean, to be honest, I had to go through one myself. It was the only way that I was able to get anything done. I don't have the background to understand the process to be able to put the paperwork in and have it mean something. So you do what you have to do. So I'll deal with that as I do. But it's only recently that VSOs have come back into the office. VRE people, our VRE offices were consolidated, I think last year or the year before, down to Portland. So Portland covers Oregon, Washington, and Alaska, and there's 4 people. So, services are just, it's up and down depending on what you're looking at. I do think that the Portland VA Medical Center is one of the better ones in the region. So we've got a branch here in Vancouver. My primary care is over here in Vancouver, and I'm one of the myriad with sleep apnea and that sort of thing. The sleep clinic at the main hospital is fantastic. I'm going through a hearing study right now and things of that nature. So, excuse me. So we've got some perks, but when you look at it overall, it kind of, the negatives and the positives kind of equalize themselves out. And so we're kind of mid-range, I think.
Now, do you see a lot of folks, when they go into a program and they get disheartened, when they don't get that immediate resolve, like you said, they have to go elsewhere. If a VSO is telling you they can only work with folks in a certain area, you don't want to work with that VSO to begin with. Any VSO, worth their salt, will assist you or find you the person that can. If somebody, turns you away because you're not from their area, that's a person that's, only focused on, punching in and punching out. A lot of VSOs that are out there, will assist you, if you're not from the area, if you're not from the state. We've had guys, we've got, local VSOs in every town that are, veteran service officers. And then we got the, the legacy organizations have their, service officers. And as well as, we've now got the, executive service of veteran services that has their own, head and liaison with the state. And I'm not sure what Colonel Notch's title is, but he runs veteran service officers now in Massachusetts. And if
he's the office of the veteran advocate. So to your point, Mike, he is the kind of watchdog over EOVS, the Executive Office of Veteran Services. And to your point, Mike, he can also look at if you have a problem with an American Legion or VFW or other organ like that, you can have him check it out.
And I know they've also got veteran resource connectors for each region. Massachusetts and the VA and nonprofits, we don't have a good one in the community. They had one years ago. It failed. And for me to be able to work with the resources at the VA for that, I have to actually go on to a Zoom every couple of months with the folks out of North Carolina, Washington, and Virginia to be able to get the information, because we don't have it up here. But I didn't know if you guys had anything like that out in the Northwest.
Not that I'm aware of, but that's something I'll look into. I know down here I haven't seen any information on that. Yeah, I'll have to look into that, see what the state actually does offer. We've got the Washington Disabled Veterans Association, and they may offer some services. I haven't looked as in depth with that organization yet. Like I say, I'm only 4 months into this, and so my research is a little lacking. But growing with it as I'm researching, the information I'm putting on the website, I'm doing definitely trying to do my due diligence research wise. So hopefully I'll have more information here as we go into the new year and have a better understanding of what our services are here in Washington, especially after the budgets have fallen and has really caused some havoc for the state level services.
I know there's this big thing too happening now where it's going to be brought to the table for those who are rated 70% or less. If you have used your VA home loan one time, you're good to go. Your fees and everything are covered. If you go to use it a second time and you are rated 70% or less, there's like a fee that's going to be required for the veteran to pay instead of, being able to use the benefit that you've earned. Now you're going to have to pay up to, $20,000 for this like closing fee that is normally covered by the VA home loan process. Because once you have, your first home and, you have the VA home loan for it, and then if your family grows in size and you need to get a bigger place, once you pay off that, first home loan, you can get, the VA home loan again for, a second location. You can't have multiple VA home loans out at one time. Like you can't, be, buying up, apartment complexes and things like that. But for where you're living, you can use the VA home loan, once you have one and you pay it off, you can use it again to, to do the next, place that you're going to be living. And they're saying for those 70% and lower, they want to, have you pay that money and then, in turn, give it to the most severely wounded and those who are in the caregiver, environments to be able to boost some of their certain benefits. But they want to basically, rob Peter to pay Paul and, taking the money from disabled veterans doesn't seem to be like the right answer to me.
Yeah, like I say, I've only heard that today. I think I heard in passing on the CivDiv podcast, he brought it up. And so, yeah, I'd have to read more into that one. I know, yeah, that's a difficult one. I know for me, it was a blessing to not have to pay closing costs. I was in a very short period of time to either move out of my apartment and find a place, or go month to month and have my rent at the apartment jump by, I think it was almost $400 or $500 a month.
Yep.
So it was a blessing to be able to get into the place I'm in. Definitely will be looking at moving here in the next couple of years. Employment pending, but if I'm going to have to pay closing costs on to use my loan the second time, I guess that's I definitely probably not wild about that, but I can't pull judgment on it until I read more about and whether or not it passes. It may not even pass, but reserve judgment till I know a little bit more about it.
Absolutely. I'm just I'm going to post a overlay picture right now so you can see one of the images from today's
I am on your website, Steve, by the way. I'm looking at the Buddy Check project.com, and I went to the podcast, and you got a pretty expansive list there, and I'm there.
Yep. Yeah, because I remember you asked me when we talked about it for a quick second in email. You asked if I was linking to the other platforms, and I wasn't at the time. And I took your idea and went ahead and ran with it. So now, if the badge for whichever platform is highlighted, it goes directly to that platform.
So, looking at your website, man, it's pretty expansive. How did you decide which documents to put in your document library? Because I see you're still building it out, but you have some of the common VA forms there, which, I can tell you, I mean, the VA is improving, but you can get lost trying to find, VA forms sometimes. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm really kind of shooting in the dark on a lot of this stuff, and I'm going for the kind of the service level basic stuff first. That you're talking to a VSO, you need to fill out this form or whatever, and throwing those forms up there to be available or links to. I'm also, if you notice in there, I'm also adding links to some of the legislation. I only have a few links so far, but I'm trying to add veteran related legislation links and things of that nature in there. But yeah, for right now, it's a bit of a jumble. I'm kind of shooting in the dark on some of that stuff. A lot of it is the stuff that I've experienced in the past, forms I've needed to fill out, and I've had to run around and find. I don't want to get too in the weeds with it because, like you're saying, VAs in the process of updates and changes and stuff like that. For the most part, I think the forms, I mean, we're military. We know the forms are going to be there until, life ends. It's just a matter of making sure that you've got the most up-to-date form. And so,
Yep.
that's going to be a big thing, is making sure that my forms are still up to date, that I'm listing. But for, that's a lot of what I'm doing with the website is kind of shooting from the hip, developing what I feel would be interesting for me as a vet. The vet-owned businesses, the associations, the nonprofits, especially the nonprofits, and just trying to build out as I can, and go from there.
Let's see if I can upload an image so folks can take a peek at your page and what Travis is talking about right now. All right, so here we go. So here is the body checks and the documents. Again, if you just want to touch base real quick on that, and how you've got the recently added information, and then down at the bottom, what you've got.
I'm went ahead and to be honest, I also use ChatGPT to kind of help me with this stuff. Just kind of deciding categories and stuff like that. So some of these could get ridiculous. State and local resources. It's one of those things I haven't looked at yet, because we got 50 states and how many resources, local resources within there. So it's going to be one of those things where if people are interested in hosting, I will take ideas from people. If they have local documentation they want to host, nothing with PII, obviously, and nothing radical, but stuff that if people are seeing that they don't have, or it's hard to find access to some of the forms, then that's the biggest thing that I'm looking at with the document library. And that, again, that stems from me trying to find some of the VA claims, some of the VR&E stuff, which you may or may not find, or VA is a big site, and sometimes it's hard to navigate there as well. So for me, that's what I'm trying to add. Documentation for the MOVE programs and things of that nature, which are services offered by the VA that people don't necessarily know about. And even when they find out, they may not know about the documentation.
I know the whole health stuff too. People always ask a lot about that stuff. The whole health, the holistic stuff, the mindfulness, things like that. Those resources are out there on the VA website, and it is tough to navigate to get to where you're going. You do wind up circling back with follow this link to that link to this link to that one. So it's nice to see that you're compiling these together.
Yeah, and like I say, it could be a beast, but I'm trying to get either the most difficult stuff to find, the stuff that's in the weeds a little bit, and the surface stuff. Obviously, it would be more of reinventing the wheel if I hosted everything, and with just one person. If I hosted everything, I'm looking at a padded cell. So, we'll keep it as simple as we can, but still, have that information available. Um, but yeah, my hope is that as I grow this thing out and it gets um, bigger and bigger, I start to get some views and I start to get some people interested, that I'll get some, volunteer help to, somebody who wants to say, I love this section. I'd love to help out with this section. Oh God, please. Uh, you know, and, but up until that point, we'll just keep driving forward and adding, like I say, adding businesses. I think I'm upwards of 50 some businesses. I've 40 some nonprofits. Um, and a lot of them they're small businesses, or a lot of them, like I say, are just Facebook friendly,
Yep.
because they don't have the money, or they're still active duty, and they don't have the money and time to try and advertise, and trying to get veterans hooked up with veterans.
And now you've got your mission and your about you here. Did you want to read the mission to the folk out there so they know what it is?
Let me see. Let me get myself up here.
No worries.
I think what I like about this, Steve, is it's not perfect as the enemy have done, and you're getting it out there and you're putting stuff out there and you're adjusting while you're doing it, but you're doing it right. And I think that's what is resonating with me.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, this is something I've wanted to do something on and off for a while. I just haven't. I haven't really stepped forward. So I retired. I spent 20 years with the Navy. Retired January 1st, 2010, and within a year and a half, was also separated / divorced from a 17-year marriage. And at that point, didn't really realize it until a few years later. I had just completely lost focus, and I think a lot of military lose focus when they retire, especially, or have served any sort of length of time. And the last couple of years, especially now with getting laid off from the cybersecurity gig 2 years ago, and then working part time for the local city fire marshal's office, but then being told early on that I was getting laid off again because the city's budget was in the toilet, really kind of got me to a point where I needed something to focus on while I'm trying to figure everything out. And this is kind of the seed for that, for this whole thing. Seeing other veterans dealing with issues, especially the more I get on the watch the podcasts and listen to the issues that other veterans are seeing. And it took hold, and I decided, well, this is something I need to do. And if only a few people see it, only a few people see it. But one, it gives me a focus. Two, it keeps me in with my fellow vets, even the Air Force ones. Yeah, I say that. My dad retired 20 years Air Force officer with a Bronze Star from Vietnam, and then asked me why I went Navy. I said, well, somebody's got to class up the family. But yeah, and I've seen a lot with my dad, who went whole heart into history in Montana, and seeing how he developed and focused on that. It really kept him young through years. And so, yeah, that all kind of came full circle for me in the last couple of years. And it was, like I said, it was a few months ago that I decided, well, hell, we need to do something. So this keeps my focus and keeps me integrated with the vet community, and hopefully will help me integrate that much more.
Absolutely. That connection is so important to keep the camaraderie going and to replace the military, closeness and togetherness that you had, with the veteran community, friendship and camaraderie that you can, build and replace, one with the other. Like you, when I was medically retired, lost my career. Uh, my wife, my ex-wife, had come home from deployment, and decided that she wasn't going to come home. That she had, found a new relationship, while deployed, and I lost the house. So, like in a matter of 90 days, it was career, spouse, home. So it's good to see that you've taken that energy and that time, and you're doing something positive with it instead of what I did. I was like a gypsy for like 4 or 5 years, just flying around from state to state, couch to couch, trying to figure things out. And I'm glad that you're putting your skills and your want to fill a hole that we have with your time.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't gypsy as it was. While I've been here for a number of years in Washington, and I'm feeling that urge to move. Um, I couldn't gypsy because I have 2 cats. By God, they'd kill me one night. And I just can't. I can't be that victim. But yeah, no. And to be honest, after my divorce, I've been pretty lost for a number of years, and just kind of wallowing in that. I mean, I haven't even dated in 16 years. I just can't. And this area isn't necessarily conducive to dating for somebody of my political persuasion. We'll just go with that. So
You're not kidding, man. I went to Seattle last year, and I figured out real quick that, boy, if you have a R or I after your name, your pool diminishes
significantly.
exponentially.
Yeah.
And they're serious about it. Like they want to know.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah. Yeah. If you go on any of the dating sites, which I can neither confirm nor deny that I have, I mean, it's right there. First, second, or third line. Will not date Trumpers. Will not date. If you're not full on progressive, and of course everyone's got the septum ring and stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah. So, yeah. And I say that jokingly because I work with a couple of people out at the local community college. I do security out there. One of them's got the full on septum ring, and she's like, I hate those people. Like, well, you got one. She's like, yeah, I just like it. So, but
You do.
yeah, no, it's an interesting area, but yeah, it's definitely not persuading me to stay, for sure.
Well, no, man. I mean, Mike and I have talked about it here in Massachusetts, where certain things like Boston is having a revenue problem, so they've already soaked the businesses as much as they can, and now they've raised property taxes on homeowners 13%.
Yep.
And then they wonder why people aren't. And Boston has like a 45% vacancy rate for commercial buildings. It's like, I don't know why that's happening. Well, yeah. I mean, surprise, surprise. And, people voted for this. And I just makes you go,
Yeah. Well, you saw who the latest mayor was for Seattle.
Yeah. I'm scratching my head on that one.
I haven't a clue. You got somebody who has never worked, who consistently to this day receives money from her parents to be able to pay for childcare and stuff like that, and is now in charge of a $1 billion+ budget for a city.
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Well, Mikey, I got to get ready for OMR coming up here in a couple minutes.
got you. Just 1 second here. We got a friend here of the
Oh yes.
that wanted to
yeah.
say hello. Go ahead. Say hi, Emily.
Hi,
Hello.
my name
I saw.
is Gary.
My name's Emily Geary.
Emily Gary.
And can you tell everybody what today is?
It's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Emily.
And how old are you today?
Oh,
Show them how many fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 years old.
Nice.
4 years old. Yeah.
And who do you got as a guest coming on, Travis?
I got Ryan Dungy from the Christmas Tree Spirit Foundation. So what they do is they kind of like Reach Across America, but different. They collect Christmas trees and send them to military bases around the country, and they even hit the base where I serve, Yuma, Arizona. They send trees there. So I thought that was pretty cool because I tell people all the time, you can't really decorate a barracks room the way you want to. So, you take any kind of, and if you're out in Arizona, I tell people there's no snow in Yuma ever. So it was nice seeing a little green there in the desert.
Yeah.
for Christmas.
Yeah. I went to college in Tucson at
Okay.
University of Arizona for one highly unsuccessful year. We won't go down that road. But yeah, we got snow one weekend. It was a dusting. Half the city shut down. I'm from Montana, so I'm standing there like, seriously. But yeah, no, good place though. Good place.
Yep. So, and we're just.
Thank you, Steve, for joining us tonight. We definitely appreciate that you coming on, sharing what's going on with the Buddy Jet Project, and how important it is to just drop a line and say hello to a buddy, and what that can do to somebody's psyche, and what's going on in their lives.
Yeah. I'm hoping. I'm trying to set up Discord. I know you took a look at it. Vic from the Green Logbooks taking a look at it as well and stuff like that. I'm putting together so much stuff, and I don't have the bandwidth to be putting together as much as I'm doing. But I'm hoping that we can use that as a gathering place as well, and stuff like that. So.
Excellent. And Travis, we are war, we are resilient. We'll be here next week.
We are resilient. We are war, and we are here for you. And Steve, thank you for keeping the fight going out there on the West Coast and what may seem like enemy territory, but somebody may need you, man. Somebody may need what you're providing, and I'm glad you're getting it going. And the site looks great, and it'll fill up and affect lives. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, guys.
Emily, can you say bye to everybody?
bye.
Happy birthday.
All right. Happy birthday.
All right, guys. Thank you.